This is my favorite bike I've had so far. This is the 2025 Quick Pro ER1 in a size large with pedals, power meter, 2 cages, and an out front mount with a GoPro on there, weighing at 7.60 kilograms, and in pounds, 16 pounds, 12 ounces. Stay tuned after the video. We have a free bicep test on these Craft 6575 right there. You guys heard it correctly there at the beginning of the video. This is by far one of my most favorite bikes I have owned in a long time. I've had about 5 rides on this bicycle, and I've pretty much shelved my tarmac Escalade since then. This is the only bike I really want to ride for the whole everything. We're going to talk about the frame, the group set, everything like that. I first off want to give you guys my first ride initial feel of this thing. Like I said, I have about 5 rides, and the last ride I did was a 4th of July ride. It was 65 miles. It was a very fast ride that I had no business being on, and I should have got dropped. Not saying it's the bike, but this bicycle really did help me out. But like I said, I want to get my ride feel of it, and then we'll talk about how I have my build set up on this thing. But man, it is a very, very fun. You guys have asked me, I think this bike right here has got me the most questions ever on Instagram. You guys ask me, how does it ride? How does it feel? How stiff is it? What do you look like naked? Every single thing in there. Under the sun of questions, and it's been a blast. So this is the 2025 Quick Pro ER1. Butcher Box is riding this bike. It's a USA crit team. They're also being raced over in the UCI Continental team as well over in China. They've been selling on pandapodium.cc. You guys can check them out. This is a full aero race bike that I think weighed right around like 850 grams for the frame itself, which is very competitive as well. But man, this bike has been phenomenal. First and foremost, the power transfer, the stiffness. You put down power into the bike, it does not hesitate. There is no loss of power there. It feels phenomenal. Every time that I am riding either in the front of the group, in terms of riding with my buddies and pulling, I feel like the bike just wants to respond. If it's a fast group and I'm in the back of the group ride, even when my legs are hurting and I feel like I should be getting dropped, I put into a higher gear with a higher cadence, and I keep on pedaling. And again, like I said, there is a very to little loss of power when riding this bicycle. It is stiff, it holds true. I really, really do like this bicycle and the way it feels. A lot of people ask me, is it similar to how the 2020 Venge was, the 3rd generation of the Venge? I rode that bike. I had an S-Works Venge, the 2020 model. But at that time, I was riding 700 by 26C cotton tires at 110 PSI. That bicycle beat the crap out of me. This bicycle has been extremely comfortable to ride. And you guys might be saying, well, Grant, you're maybe riding faster rides because your fitness is doing much better, blah, blah, blah. Before I rode this bike, I took a month off and my back was killing me. I told you guys, my lower back was, in the build video, my lower back was screwed up. I have a herniated L5 disc. I was actually really scared that my fitness would be hurting on this bike, but it has been surprising. It has been a big eye-opener. Also, in terms of the compliancy, a lot of it has to do with the wheels and tire pressure now. These wheels are the Craft 6575, and I'm running the brand new 700 by 30 with brand new limited edition Continental tires. I run them at 75 PSI front and rear, 25 millimeter internal in the front, 23 millimeter internal and rear. I did 65 miles, it was 3 hours on the bike, and I had no complaints, no qualms. The comfort was everything. Like I said, the sport will always call for a little bit of pain. If you're riding on a bike for 3 hours, you're supporting your body weight up, you're always gonna have some fusses on the bike. But the bicycle itself was not harsh, no complaints. I have everything set up how I wanted to, so I absolutely loved how the bike performed. Now, the things that I do want to talk about is the first initial ride. This bicycle has a lot of features to it that definitely looks like it's made from like 4 or 5 different bikes. You have the front fork looking like the BMC Team Machine R with that big wide fork. You have the Pinarello down tube on that little step down right there. Kind of looks really Pinarello-esque. You have the front fork being really deep and wide like a foil. You have the rear looking like an S5 foil. So the bicycle has a lot of mix and matches with bikes on there. This front fork being very wide, and I know that it looks very similar to the BMC, but these blades are huge, and they also kind of look like they're cantered in a little bit. The one thing I'll say with crosswinds, obviously I'm riding a 65, we get a lot of crosswinds here because right over that bridge over there is where the ocean is, so we get a lot of ocean breezes. and in between condo buildings and stuff like that, you do notice some crosswinds. Nothing that you can't control, nothing that you're not used to. I've been riding these roads for 15 plus years. But you can definitely feel the wind funnel into this front fork, and it can definitely throw you off a bit. Nothing that I cannot handle, nothing that would make me crash or anything like that. It's just something to be aware about. That front fork will bring in some more airflow if you're not used to it. And secondly, me being me, this water bottle holder right here, it can only take a small water bottle. So if you see right here, I already have a smudge mark because here I keep my repair kit. Here I keep my big 24 bottle. So 24 ounce water bottle or 22 ounce. It rubs on here. I guess this needs to be like a pro size water bottle here. But other than that, that's really been my only issue. This bike is my favorite right now over my Tarmac SL8. This is my go-to bike. It's a proper aero bike for Florida. It's everything I need. And yeah, I am absolutely loving it. And the color, I mean, look at the color scheme right now. Look at the dark blue with the purple chain and everything. It looks really, 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 really good. It was one of the bikes I want to get my hands on the most. So that being that, I guess I'll show you guys some riding video and yeah, I'll show you. On your right. Slow riders to the left, please. And also right there, I just threw in a little bit of my Strava stats right there for that 65-mile ride. I recorded my fastest ever 50K, averaging 24.1 miles an hour. Again, I was in a group ride. I was getting pulled along. I was not doing any work. But I do believe that this bike, with the aerodynamics to it, really did help me keep onto that group ride, because it was everything that I needed and more with this bike. So phenomenal. So a little bit about the bike. The frame itself is $2,000. If you want the butcher box color, it is $100 extra, bring it to $2,100. You also do a fully customizable color for $2,200, which you can get in contact with pandapodium.cc. This handlebar is also paired with them as well, but you can put other handlebars on there if you want to. This is the can win. So just in case you didn't know, you could be a quick pro and you can win. But this bike you can add on to the price as well for $200. And I'm riding currently a longer setup than what I usually do. This is a 120. And you have all the schematics right here: reach 75, drop 125, angle -8. I think on this side, I'm riding at 120 by 38, which I think the bar aesthetically looks great. They really should just get rid of this name and put like a letter, like even like a C, whatever, a W. You want to put like a little W right here as a font. I think it would do the bike or the handlebar much more justice. I have a SRAM Force XPLR group set on there, because I saw Mads Pedersen ride that with a 1x54 front and then the 13 speed in the back. And there's no rhyme or reason for why I need this heavier rear derailleur and this heavier gravel cassette. But I saw it, it looked badass. I'm only rocking a 50 tooth on there, and I'm like, this is the future of road bikes for me. For South Florida, we're only changing 2 or 3 gears anyways. I'm never in this top cog right here, as you guys can see, maybe once or twice riding around the store. But I was gonna say this as well, on that group ride, typically I have like a 52 or 54 in the front with like an 1128 cassette in the back. There was times where my legs felt really heavy. If I stood up, I felt like they were gonna give out. But I was able to go ahead with this cassette and go into a larger gear, have more cadence, and I was able to suck wheel a little bit better. So again, I think this gearing, how I have it set up, I'm loving this. And you know I'm a weight weenie. I definitely would prefer a lighter derailleur and a lighter cassette in there, which I could easily achieve. But the overall look of it is sick. And I have had no issues with this 1x setup. I did use a spindle-based power meter because with the XPLR group set, I have to use a wide spindle for the force. So I just put that power meter spindle on there, but phenomenal. So, integrated bar and stem up here, 120, 38. I'm rocking Silca 2.5 millimeter tape. And then I have on here the brand new SRAM Force. The SRAM Force group set alone, you do not need red by any means. The only reason why you need red would just be for weight and for the flex. And I think even that, the weight is a difference of like 100 grams, 150 grams. This operates and performs just like red, and I know because I have red. The bonus buttons up here for the shifting, I find myself using these way more than actually reaching down and shifting for the paddles. I'll be on the tops. I can have my fingers on the brakes right here, able to engage, and then just reach up, reach up. Much better than taking my hand off, going down. I find it to be much more comfortable. I think SRAM did a phenomenal job with that. So the SRAM Force group set for me, it's amazing. If you're considering, if you have the old Force, you have the old red, even just get the upgrade kit for the shifters, it's night and day. And the braking, how they change the actual piston inside of here, or the plunger for the braking to make it much more easier, it's a game changer. You do get with the handlebar their own out front mounts, which just kind of looks like a cheap carbon fiber mounts. It does have the Garmin on there, and then also underneath a built-in light or GoPro or whatever you want there. The bicycle can take up to a 700 by 32C tire. Obviously that's more for the rear, but for the front we have a ton of clearance here. I have on here the brand new Archetype, the limited edition 700 by 30C tire that's supposed to be even a better tire compound than the TTTR. I was riding the Specialized Rapid Air tires before with a tube in there, and these tires have a Pirelli TPU tube in here as well. I rode 65 miles on them, didn't get a flat, felt very comfortable. They performed well. I was actually really nervous about getting a flat because I rode the Continental TTTRs before, and they were very subjected to get flats. But these have held up really nice, and I do like these tires a lot. And just the yellow logo, I think, gives a nice little cool badge to it. And you even have like a little Tour de France logo right there, which is pretty cool. So yes, but I'm riding a Pirelli TPU tube in there. These are the Craft 65-75 wheel set. It is a 1,400 gram wheel set for a 65 front, 75 rear. The internal rim width on there is a 25 millimeter. The external is a 34. Carbon fiber bladed spokes with their own craft hub and I believe ceramic bearings inside of here. Phenomenal wheels. Again, what can I say? A perfect South Florida wheel set. People have asked me if they should use it in crit races. I know Jesse Coyle uses them for crit races. I don't think this is the ideal depth because you still have that inertia. You still have that rim to turn around, even though it is very light. I think a 50 is a great depth for a crit race for always going around corners and stooling back up, going around corners, pulling back up. But in terms of a group ride wheel, or maybe you have the legs to go ahead and keep on spooling this wheel back up, but in terms of a group ride wheel, fantastic. Psst, forget about it. And I've been a fan of deep wheels forever. Back in the day, it used to be a 404 front, 808 rear. That was the move. So I absolutely love these types of the wheel. Going to the other side here on this frame, it has a nice little tucked away disc brake caliper. So it gets shielded from the air. So you have the fork blade right here, but you can see it's kind of recessed in. So it mounts right to that fork right there, which looks really clean. You have the SRAM Force disc brake caliper in the all black with just a little bit less machining holes right here. This is going to be the added weight. The 160 millimeter SRAM Force disc brake rotors. And then going down to the frame, we have here the United Through Cycling. This is obviously for the Butcher Box logo. You have the ER1 logo right here and the Quick Pro. Again, I like the different shapes of the frames on here. I have S-Work cages on here, which I already had a bottle pop on me. Fuck you, cage. Which that's nice, so I lost one bottle right to them. On here, it's going to be a T47 BB, but it's an outboard. So keep that in mind. You need to use an outboard T47 threaded BB. I'm using a Nova to ride. I had a SRAM one, but I'm using a Nova to ride outboard T47BB with the spindle-based power meter on here. And I'm using a 165 SRAM Force crank, which is obviously always good. That just works for my fit. Check with your fitter before you do anything. Size large. Bringing it back around town here, we have these cool little Butcher Box logos right here. I think this is one of the best paint jobs he offers. I mean, that navy blue is sick. Butcher Box said if I keep on riding strong, I might be getting on the team as a water boy. UCI logo right here. You have your seat wedge controller and a 4mm right here. Going down to the front of the crank, we have a 50-tooth chainring on there. I will be going to a 52 or 54 in the future, just to utilize more of the cassette in the back so I can be in the middle of it. Really no reasons. On that group ride, like I said, on Saturday, we hit speeds of 32 miles an hour going straight, and I didn't run out of gearing, which I liked. But yes, it was perfectly fine. But yeah, I will be going to a 50. Look at that purple chain on the frame, dude. This Overcast right now is doing this bike justice. You do have the front derailleur braze on right there. But yeah, I will be going to a 52 or 54 tooth. The only thing is that the 52 and 54 tooth 1x chainrings come with a power meter. So I don't feel like spending the money right now. I have a power meter, I have a bike that works. Why upgrade it? The SRAM Force does have the brand new purple chain, and it's sick. It looks amazing. It is a little bit heavier than the red, but it looks fantastic on this bike. I mean, look at that thing. That looks like a sick setup. The rear cassette is the XPLR cassette in a 1046. And then we have the UDH compatible SRAM Force rear derailleur. Again, massive, bulky, unnecessary by all means, but I just thought it looked cool. It looked like a badass bike. This bike, we turned around at a Publix. We all got off our bikes, we're talking. It got so much attention. It's such a badass looking bike. The rear wheel is a 75 depth. The inner rim channel is 23mm. The outer is 32. Again, stretching out these 700x30C tires really nicely. I like it a lot. Carbon fiber blade spokes, their own craft hub, and then their own bearings out there as well. You guys will get a free up-buy sound test in just a second. But they sound phenomenal. And then another 160mm rotor in the rear as well. And then for the C-post, this is their own proprietary ER1 C-post. Nice looking saddle. I opted in for the zero offset. Obviously, I've always mentioned about that. I like it. I like the way it rides. It feels like it puts me a little bit more with the pedals. Maybe we'll get a little bit more power down. And then for the Bjorn saddle, you guys always know this as well. This is the seat that works for me the most. 3D printed, very lightweight. I think it's like 133 grams. Carbon fiber rails, carbon fiber body, nice wide cutout. Because I do. The reason why I like the cutout, one, it just works for me in my prostate, but two, I do have a negative tilt, and I do have a kind of a big drop on mine. So the lower you go, the more exposed your soft tissue area becomes, which this will just allow blood flow here. So very, very nice. But this is my favorite bike I own right now. This is the Quick Pro ER1 in the Butcher Box color, custom built up by yours truly. I do have a full build video on this thing. You guys can check it out. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys want me to do a riding video for it, let me know. I'm about to go on vacation now, but when I get back, maybe I can do a riding video on there. But I am full on thrilled about it. Keep asking me the questions away. I have so many questions daily about this bike. I'm happy to answer them. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Here comes a free buy sound test on these Craft 75 right here. Thank close to it.
Marginal gains.
Bumblebee tuna.